Welcome. After we were sitting here after in my opinion, the greatest opening weekend of March Madness ever. As a fan, as for me as a fan, literally all the teams I hate got embarrassed, and the teams that I love are in the Sweet 16. What more can you ask for? So we're not going to go completely game by game. We're going to mention the games. We'll stop on some big ones, some fun ones, and some upsets. But like right off the bat, we're just gonna be a recap of the first 5 days. Excuse me, sorry. It's gonna be a recap of the first 5 days. So actually, I should be starting down here. The first four happened Thursday, March something. Thursday, March 18th.
March 18th.
And it started out with Mount St. Mary's versus Texas Southern, and gosh, that game was bad. Both of those teams looked absolutely terrible. And Mount St. Mary's got off to a good start, and then Texas Southern was like, you know what, you guys can just stink for a minute and let us win.
Yeah, it was not a pretty game. I watched it because I knew Michigan would be playing, that we would be playing the winner of this one. And yeah, no, that
It was also the first game of the tournament. You always tune into the first game of the tournament.
Yeah.
And then we got to see how absolutely terrible the graphic boards are. Okay, I've started to like them. I've started to like them a little bit more. I still think the score font is absolutely garbage. But, like, take me back to, like, 2016, where, like, you had, like, the, like, chrome-looking scoreboard. Let me see if I can find it. I took a picture of it. Like this. Take me back to that scoreboard. That is March Madness. That is March Madness scoreboard. I don't like this year's scoreboard. It's okay. I'm also a very particular person when it comes to graphics. Anyway, the next game on the...
Probably most of you guys care, so let's get on to the...
I do. It's so important. Presentation is number one. Okay, anyway. Wichita State Drake was a really fun game. Looked like Wichita State was going to take it for the longest time, and then Drake battled back in the end and was able to get past Wichita State 53-52. It was a fun game. I honestly really enjoyed watching this game. I'm glad I tuned in to watch this game. This was a fun one. Both of the 11 games were good.
Yeah, I expected Wichita State to win handily. That was not the case. Like you said, Drake continued to battle. They won it in the end. Good game overall. I didn't see a whole lot of it, but I saw a little bit of it.
Terrible by Wichita State to not take a timeout to advance the ball. That was stupid. They just had a terrible shot. Last seconds were terrible. And then Norfolk State, Appalachian State. Cool. Norfolk State won 54-53. Cool. Moving on.
Actually, in this game, Norfolk State, I think, was winning by either 18 or 20. And they gave the Appalachian State took the lead by like 7. And then they lost the game. That just was crazy overall. How many different twists and turns there were in the game.
Yeah, and then the other 11 game, Michigan State, UCLA. I was at youth group for most of this game, so I didn't watch much of it. My friend who's a Michigan State fan stayed home, and I got to make fun of him for missing it at his expense. But I remember you texted me at halftime saying, wow, Michigan State's probably going to win this game. And then I was like, wait, they did this against Maryland. They had an 11-point lead against Maryland and blew it. And what happened? They had a lead against UCLA at halftime, and then they blew it. And Michigan State got sent packing. Which, again, plays into the fact that I loved this first weekend, that Michigan State didn't even get to go into the tournament. They lost in the first 4.
Yeah, that was not a great game from Michigan State. They did well at the beginning, and then they decided to take a crap in the second half and just do absolutely nothing. It was pitiful to say the least. So
yeah,
not a good game from Michigan State. Towards the end, anyway, they blew it at the end.
And now we move into the actual bracket, starting with the West region. Number 1 Gonzaga beat number 16 Norfolk State 98-55. You know what I'm going to hit it with?
Appalachian State. I'm not surprised.
Cool. Moving on. Now, this was one of the games that as soon as I saw it announced, I was looking forward to, and it did not disappoint. Number 8 Oklahoma versus number 9 Missouri. Oklahoma pulls away 72-68. That was a fun game. I'm just going to leave it at that. That was a fun game. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, that was really good. I watched that entire thing. I knew it would be very good. I thought without Davion Harmon, Missouri had a shot at maybe beating Oklahoma, and they made a run at it. But Oklahoma, of course, came up on top. Great game overall. Very fun.
Now we move down. Number 5 Creighton sneaking out with a win late because of some UC Santa Barbara mistakes, pulling away with a 1-point win, 63-62. I almost had to eat my words on Creighton. Luckily, I didn't. But Creighton survives.
Right, that close, but
Creighton survives.
Creighton moves on. UC Santa Barbara had a chance at the end. Just not a good shot at the end of the game. But the Creighton survives, moves on to the second round.
As a Syracuse fan, I despise Virginia. Virginia sunk our hopes in the ACC tournament out of Dagger 3. So seeing them lose to Ohio gives me joy. Though I knew they would lose probably because of everything that happened with their COVID issues and all that. But
yeah, I think that was a pretty popular upset pick, seeing what had happened with
COVID and all that.
With COVID for Virginia. I mean, they made it close, but Ohio pulled it off.
Yeah. And now we get to our first Pac-12 team, which the Pac-12 has been going insane. USC absolutely dominating Drake, 72-56, was not even close. It was close for a little bit, I think.
They pretty much took care of business throughout. They handled them. This next game was pretty interesting.
Kansas versus Eastern Washington. Even with David McCormick, they still almost lost to Eastern Washington. How do you do?
As you see, USC and Kansas is currently playing right now. We'll get to that when we get to it. Yeah. But right now, it is a shocking 40-21 lead for USC at halftime.
Kansas is not looking great.
So, yeah. But anyways, Kansas beating Eastern Washington by 9. They were losing for the majority of this game. The Groves brothers for Eastern Washington were playing very well. Towards the end, Kansas ended up taking over and pulling it off, but definitely was not a good showing for the Jayhawks.
And then the sucky one next, the no contest between Oregon and VCU.
Was able to move on due to issues with VCU's program.
After seeing what Oregon,
yeah. Chairman asked a question of, hey, so teams can play in the NCAA tournament with at least 5 players. What was different about VCU? And he says, oh, they had a lot of positives.
That doesn't answer the question.
No.
Obviously, our hearts go out to the VCU players. That sucks that happened. Yeah. Originally, I thought that would be a good game, but now that I saw what Oregon did in the second round, I think Oregon might have won that game a little handily. But sad to miss it. And then Iowa, I mean, they took care of Grand Canyon. Jeez, they took care of GCU, but GCU put up a fight. GCU put up a fight against Iowa, but obviously Iowa pulled away in the end.
Yeah, that was a pretty good game by Grand Canyon. They definitely they played pretty well in that one. They made it close, but it is the Iowa Hawkeyes. They scored a lot, which is really pretty much the only thing they do. So, good game for them.
Yep, moving on to the East region, I think is that one. Is it South? It's East, West, South, and Midwest. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe this is the East. I'm not sure. Michigan, the number 1 seed in this region. Michigan is the number 1 seed in this region, and they took care of business against Texas Southern, 82-66. And a lot of his 3-pointers, wide open airball threes at the end that just hurt. But I mean, obviously they pulled away with an easy win.
That was a very uninspiring game. We did not play very well in the second half.
Luckily, the next game.
We won the first, and then we just kind of said, "All right, we're good."
Luckily, the next game.
Our second half off.
Luckily, the
But
next
they
game we
won,
looked inspired.
So, the win's a win.
We looked inspired the next game, at least.
Well, yeah.
LSU St. Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure played with a super slow pace, but they also played one against one of the fastest paced teams in the league, which ended up getting them kind of kicked in the butt. I don't think anyone really saw St. Bonaventure beating LSU, and they didn't. LSU easily takes care of business, 76-61. Now, this next one.
Well, St. Bona, I mean, like you said, they had a very slow pace, which kept the game very low scoring early. It was like 9-8 with 9 minutes to go in the first half, and then LSU exploded.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually figured out how to speed up St. Bona, which they don't like to do, and it really caused the Bonnies problems. Well, that led to their demise. And yeah, this next game.
We all picked. A lot of people, I think Georgetown was a very popular upset pick, and Colorado was like, "Yeah, nah, fam, we're gonna smack you out of here." Holy bejeebies! They just they handled Georgetown from start to finish. But as you'll see on the other side of the bracket, that didn't happen for the other 12 seed upset.
I mean, for Georgetown, not for Georgetown, Colorado. I need to get to the app because there was they had a crazy good shooting day.
They almost scored 100 in a college game. Real quick, while he's looking this up, I'm just going to mention the next one: Florida State advancing past UNC Greensboro, 64-54. It's kind of a close game, but not really too much to mention there. He's pulling this up.
All right, yeah. Colorado in this game from the field shot 60%. We'll start there. From three, they're 16 to 25 from three.
Wow.
They shot 64% from the 3-point line. Yeah, when you're shooting that well, you're not going to lose. But next game in there, Florida State beating UNC.
Yeah, I already mentioned that. It was kind of close.
That was
but...
a great game from Florida State. It was close actually for a while, and then Florida State broke at the end. But
yeah,
just not a great game.
Next game, UCLA upsetting BYU 73-62. I don't think many people saw this as an upset. Just because, again, I mean, BYU's in the
kind of saw this
West Coast Conference. BYU's a good team.
Teams are constantly overrated. I thought the winner of UCLA Michigan State would automatically move on to the second round.
I didn't think they'd be in the Sweet 16.
UCLA moved on a little farther than the second round.
I didn't think they'd move farther past the second round because I thought they'd run to Texas. But you know what? Texas ran into the wall known as Abilene Christian, and they decided to become what Mitch likes to deem Turnover University. They had so many turnovers.
Ugly basketball from both teams. Texas in this game turned it over a total of 23 times. 23 turnovers by Texas.
Let me check something.
Along with 16 fouls. That is very undisciplined basketball, if you ask me. Abilene Christian wasn't a whole lot better. 11 turnovers with 15 fouls. But here's the crazy thing I look at. Texas shot 45% in the game and lost. Abilene Christian shot below 30% in the game.
And they won. Texas deserved to lose that game. Moving on.
Anyway,
Uconn and Maryland, and I called it. I don't like either of these teams, but I knew Uconn. I knew Uconn was overrated.
Yeah, the issue really for Uconn was James Bouknight did not do very well, and neither did really the rest of the team. I mean, the starting lineup for Uconn: 2 of 7, 3 of 8, 6 of 16, 1 of 10, 3 of 12.
Not great. And of course, Alabama against Iona. Iona made it a fight for a little bit, but couldn't win. Alabama pulled away.
That Iona was really in that game is because their coach is Rick Pitino.
Basically.
That's about it.
Now we move on to one of my favorite regions, and Mitch already knows why this is one of my favorite regions. Baylor versus Hartford, 79-55. Wow, okay, cool. Moving on.
Wow, shocker.
This one I called. Not many people were on my side with this one, but I didn't think they would win this much. I did not think Wisconsin would blow out North Carolina. North Carolina just got destroyed. And again, as a Syracuse fan, I love it. But Wisconsin just, like, destroyed North Carolina.
Yeah, Wisconsin in this game kind of really looks like the Wisconsin before, like, February. They look like the January, December team that was playing very well. They were very sharp. They looked like the Wisconsin of old. And North Carolina did not play very well and just got absolutely hammered.
Yep, and in the next game, Villanova escaped from Winthrop. Again, that was another upset pick that I think a lot of people picked, just mainly due to the fact that Villanova had so many guys hurt. But, you know what, they pulled it out against Winthrop, so congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of picked against Villanova simply because they didn't have Colin Gillespie. Now, you see that they're in the Sweet 16. You also see the teams they played. That's the sole reason why they're in the Sweet 16.
They got the benefit of playing...
They're going to get demolished by Baylor.
Yeah, that's not even going to be close. They got the benefit of playing number 13 North Texas because number 13 North Texas pulled off an overtime upset of number 4 Purdue, 69-78. Which, again, I'm going to let a little theme for these videos. What is going on in the Big Ten?
And the Big 12.
Big 12, yes.
What's going on with the best two conferences in the
They just beat...
NCAA?
I think they just beat each other up so much.
In the first 2 rounds, there's only 2 teams from the 2 conferences left.
It's Baylor and Michigan. I think
7 teams from the Big 12 made it. All of them were even in the top 25 when they made it into the tournament. And they're all gone already.
I think
And
it's
from
just
the
has to
Big
do.
10, most of them lost in the first round. Big 10 just died in the first round.
I think the biggest thing is the fact that all season long they beat each other up. They had to play so hard night in, night out to actually be able to make the tournament that I think when it actually came time to tournament, they're all hurt and tired. And they just didn't show enough effort, but Purdue didn't show enough effort, and they lose to North Texas. And this next one was a fun game for a little bit. Utah State and Texas Tech. Utah State was winning there for a little bit, and then Texas Tech climbed back in and kind of took it over in the second half.
I did not really see a lot of this game, but Texas Tech has Matt McClung. That's really all I have to really say.
Moving on, Arkansas struggled a little bit early against Colgate. Colgate came out of the gates firing on all cylinders, and then Arkansas took care of them in the second half. Obviously pulled away for an 85-68 win. Now.
Yeah. Pretty solid game for Arkansas. Like you said,
This was, yeah.
They're down really big early. They're down
Yeah.
14 early in the game. And, well, you can see they won by 17, so they obviously righted the ship.
This next one was another one that
Next one wasn't good.
I had talked about being one of the best games of the tournament that I'm looking forward to, and it did not disappoint. Florida ended up winning 75-70, which means my bracket was wrong after game 1, so that's fun. But obviously Virginia Tech hitting that crazy late 3 to send it to overtime. But yeah, then Florida obviously came back and ended up holding on to win.
Yeah, pretty good game for the Florida Gators. They did really well in this one. I mean, Virginia Tech came in late, made overtime. Really good opening game for the NCAA tournament. I mean, technically the first 4 was the opening game, but Florida did pretty well. We officially have a Cinderella.
You can see we were looking for this. I was ready for this game. I was waiting for this game. I've been waiting to talk about this game since it happened. I was watching the entirety end of the game. I was like, I don't want to turn it on because I think they're not going to win. Oral Roberts, the 15 seed, upsets number 2 Ohio State 75-72, and the picture of Dwayne Washington walking off the court depressed is my background now. I love that picture of him just like with his jersey in his mouth, like. I have that as my background. I can guarantee you it's going to be in the thumbnail for this video. Completely. Oh, I love that picture. But, great game. Dwayne Washington had a terrible game. Ohio State fans, I don't care that... Ohio State fans, I don't care that Dwayne Washington had a bad game. You should not be sending death threats. If you send death threats to someone over a sports game, you are a terrible human being. I am sorry. I don't care that I don't like Ohio State, and I don't care that I don't like Dwayne Washington.
They've had
He doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that. Neither did Danny Green. Neither did the Michigan punter. Like, I don't like the Michigan punter who dropped it against Michigan State. But you don't send a dude death threats. That's just not cool. It's a sport at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's a game. Your life is going to be the same.
I know they were sending. Well, I know they were sending EJ Liddell death threats.
Why? EJ Liddell was the only reason they were in this game.
Yeah, EJ Liddell was 10 of 15 for 23 points and 14 rebounds.
Dwayne Washington was the one who was 7 for 21 and missed a wide open 3-pointer to tie it at the end of overtime. He was wide open. He was wide open to tie the ball game, and he just whiffed.
But yeah, bad game for Ohio State, obviously, and
Fun though.
Oral Roberts.
It was fun. It was fun though.
We'll get to it later, but Oral Roberts.
And now moving on to this bottom bracket. Illinois beating Drexel 78-49. Again, it's another one of those K-cool moving on. We did not have a 16 seed beating a 1 seed this year. Loyola Chicago beating Georgia Tech 71-60. I know Mitch doesn't like Loyola Chicago as much, and he's tired of them. I love it. I just love Cameron Krutwig specifically. Cameron Krutwig on that team, I love watching him. He's so much fun. And as you can see in the next round, they did me another favor. So, I like it. I like Cameron Krutwig. I like Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago is one of those teams that's like, if you're gonna lose to somebody in the NCAA tournament, at least let it be Loyola Chicago, because at least you're not that mad. You're like, oh, I lost to Loyola Chicago. I mean, that's not great, but at the same time, I don't hate them.
Yeah, good game by Loyola. If you're wondering why I'm not really a Rambler fan, I'm just not exactly. I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Gonzaga because they play in the crap conference and they always get a lot of attention. It's kind of the same thing for me about Loyola Chicago. They had one good year where they played a bunch of garbage teams in the NCAA tournament, got to the Final Four, and then Michigan smoked them. But they still get all this attention.
Yeah, well, you can't say that this year. I mean, obviously, honestly, even Oregon State. I think Oregon State, even if they beat Oregon State, I feel like right now at this point, we're at the point where if you beat Oregon State, that's good.
If you beat anyone, it's good.
But they also beat Illinois, so like this is a little bit different from 2016. Or 2018. They're actually beating good teams. Like, Illinois, they beat Illinois.
Yeah, that was a good one. But,
yeah, I get what you're saying though. Moving on. We picked this one. Oregon State. I picked them to beat Tennessee. I didn't expect them to bomb Tennessee. They bombed Tennessee. That wasn't even close.
I thought Oregon State. I had Oregon State beating Tennessee. I didn't have a single 5 moving on.
No, I had only 1 5 moving on, and that was Creighton. I was correct on that.
Terrible.
But no, I had Oregon State beating Tennessee. I didn't think they'd bomb them though.
Yeah, it was a little surprising to me that they destroyed Tennessee, but I was not surprised that they won.
No, exactly.
Next round was a little different.
Yeah, next round was way different. And then speaking of which, Oklahoma State beating Liberty 69-60. Kate Cunningham didn't play that great of a game, but it's Liberty. So
yeah, that was a little alarming, that game. Kate Cunningham was not very impressive. So it was a little concerning. Obviously, it got worse next game. But you know why Stravinsky is dancing.
Syracuse not only beat San Diego State. Do you know, for the last 9 minutes and 45 seconds of the first half, San Diego State did not score. For the last 9.5 minutes, for the last almost 10 minutes of the first half, they didn't score. That is insane. They missed so many threes. Syracuse hit so many threes. Buddy Boeheim is going off, dude. He's going off. And they just absolutely, I expected them to beat San Diego State. I did not expect them to demolish them. That zone just completely disrupted San Diego State. And the biggest thing that it comes down to against Syracuse, can you attack the middle of the zone, and can you hit threes? The answers for San Diego State, no, and God, no. I need to... hang on. I need to pull that up. I need to... Where is it? Because, like...
Well, meanwhile, I'll take us to the next game, which was Clemson and Rutgers. A fun game overall. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights pointed off by 4. We both had Rutgers moving on. I liked the Rutgers team, but as of lately, like I said, they really struggled.
Wait, you completely skipped over.
Oh, I skipped over West Virginia. Yeah, they beat Morehead State by 17.
Okay, here's the stat. Here's the stat I'm looking at. Okay, so Syracuse from 3 shot 15 of 27, 55%. They made 29 3-pointers in their first 2 games. That's good. And they shot 26 for 47 in overall, so 55%. San Diego State overall shot 24 of 67 from the field. They shot 35% from the field and shot 11 for 40 from 3-point line. They shot 27.5%. And keep in mind, 5 or 6 of those 3-pointers were in garbage time at the end of the game. There was one point where I think they were like 4 for like 32 on 3-point shots. 4 for 32! Needless to say, they could not hit threes.
But of course, West Virginia, they beat Morehead State by 17. Wasn't really close whatsoever. The expected result. Okay, cool. Moving on.
And then same thing with
Rutgers
Houston.
And,
Oh yeah,
Clemson. We were talking about that one.
it was a good one. It was a fun game. I didn't watch much of it because
They played well.
it was at the same time. So
Like I said, Rutgers, they need to be able to hit threes if they want to win the game. They really didn't hit threes, but Clemson couldn't hit a shot either. So Rutgers got bailed out anyway.
they didn't get bailed out in the net. They actually cool. They actually bailed out the team in the next round.
Yeah, they did. But Houston destroying Cleveland State. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, this took a while, so I think we are going to split it into 2 videos just because there were so many games. So we'll see y'all in the part 2 of this video. Because in the part 2, what we're going to do is I'll just explain it later. You'll see in part 2. See you guys later.